Hello, and a really big and warm welcome to the Ageing Well Festival Brighton and Hove 2021. I'm Caroline Ridley, I'm CEO at Impact Initiatives who produce the festival. We're so thrilled this year to be able to return to live events, and we've got an absolutely packed programme, all based around our theme of creative ageing. We've worked really closely with our colleagues at Public Health to make sure that all of the events are following all of the right guidelines to make this as brilliant and safe a festival as we possibly can. This year we're so excited to be bringing events from Germany, Belgium, Sweden and the Netherlands in addition to our own in the city. We're going to be hearing a bit more about our theme and about some of the events shortly. But first of all, we're going to go over to Phelan McCafferty, the leader of Brighton Hove City Council, who's at the Brighton Museum, about why they want to support the festival.
Brighton and Hove has a long-standing reputation for being a vibrant and busy city, and it's really important that residents of all ages are part of and benefit from this. The pandemic has put a welcome new emphasis on healthy living, and we want to help people to be healthy, to feel they can take part, that they are heard, so they can age well. As leader of Brighton and Hove City Council, I want to ensure this is borne out in the actions the City Council takes, and this is evident in the funding and support year-round that the Council gives to the Ageing Well programme of activities, services and support. And I want to say a huge thank you to Caroline Ridley and Impact Initiatives for coordinating the festival and the year-round work. I know from my own parents that it has been an immensely challenging year for so many older people, and I'm hopeful the festival will help some of you get out and about and enjoy the company of others once again.
Thank you to Phelan and everybody at Brighton Hove City Council who's been involved. We've said that our theme is creative ageing this year, and that's going to mean different things to different people. The common thread though is that there's really clear evidence that being involved in any creative activity is good for our health and well-being. We spoke to a range of different people to get their views and insights on why being creative is important to them, and also why they think it's important for all of us. Could you tell us why being involved in a creative industry and being creative is important to you?
Yeah, being creative and why it's important. I was joined up to a drama group when I was 5 or 6. My mum thought it would be a good idea to sort of try and sort of give me a bit of confidence and bring me out of myself. She didn't know what monster she was going to unleash, I don't think. And I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. I had aspirations to be an actor at one time, and at school I was laughed at and told in the careers lesson, well, yeah, but what about a proper job? And that sort of squashed that ambition. But then I ended up involved in theatre anyway, and over the years I've sort of ended up in theatre management.
In the creative world, for me, in my personal life, has always been part of my life. So as a young girl, I always did Indian classical dance, and then I moved to starting to do flamenco when I was in my 20s. So even though I stopped dancing myself in that way, which is a terrible thing, actually I found that working with other dancers, so she is my friend, and we started doing dance together. Actually, she is now a professional dancer, and I'm supporting her and work with her dance company. So for me, it's always been there, either as myself, but actually also being around others who are creating art and supporting them to create art.
I'm the last person in the world who should be involved in the creative industry because, you know, I come from a normal working class background and I didn't even know that sort of thing was open to you. And in fact, really, it's as a result of being in detention a lot at school that I ended up doing what I do, because they got fed up with sitting with me on a Saturday morning writing lines. So they sent me into the sixth form common room to look at what they were doing. And there were 3 actors in there doing a workshop once, and I thought, oh, this seems interesting, and they were doing a bit of Shakespeare, and I thought, that seems really interesting as well. Right, that's the gig for me.
Being creative means expressing yourself, reflecting the world around you, entering into a vital exchange with others, getting surprised by the many things you can experience for the first time in your life. So creativity in age means quality of life and is a very important part of a lifelong learning.
And how have you managed through COVID, when so many of the creative industries had to close their doors? What did you do to occupy yourself during that time?
Well, it was awful. The day that we were told that the venues had to close, it was just horrible. Absolutely. The uncertainty was the worst part because we didn't know how long it was going to be for. I was still in the venue, doing lots of things involving the team and looking after the building itself. But I also was able to work with several local companies who came in and did some short films. We did 2 or 3 lots of filming with different people. We recorded a puppet show. We were involved in Brighton Festival for the day. We managed to do quite a lot, even though we were actually still closed.
What I used to love doing was actually go to art exhibitions. And one of the things that really captured my imagination was the recreation of those artworks. And that's something that me and my family and a whole group of us friends did, all terribly badly, but it was great. And we spent a lot of time creating it. I think that's the message, isn't it? That we spent a lot of time thinking about what we wanted to create. We looked for a piece of artwork together as a family, and then we shared it with our friends.
Well, as you say, the COVID for everybody was a nightmare, and in my industry, everything shut down. Of course, the theatres. I think the most interesting thing that I did, because I didn't know, and maybe this is quite interesting for the guys who'll be watching this if they haven't been involved in the creative industries before, was I actually started to write a film script with my next door neighbour, because we had a little wall between our front steps and we could peer over the top of it and say, "How you doing? Have you got a cup of tea? All right, I've got an idea for a story." And neither of us had ever written a film script before. But it was great to just be able to communicate with somebody and, observe all the rules and yet do something that, fired your imagination. Yeah, me and Imogen next door doing what we really enjoyed.
I've always felt being creative is important, and particularly over COVID. Of course, what we do here at Phoenix is all about creativity. And overnight, everything had to close. But we managed to sort of do courses online. We created a food bank out the back of Phoenix, and we felt it was really important to keep that connectivity going with our audiences. And the response we got made me reflect back to, the whole point of creativity in our lives. It's all about doing something that is not your everyday, and focusing on something, using that different part of your brain.
During the COVID pandemic, it took much too long to recognize the valuable contribution that cultural education makes to the resilience of a society. I hope we've all learned that we should do anything to make creative engagement possible, even under COVID conditions.
Do you think we all need some creativity in our lives?
Yeah, I think how boring would life be if we couldn't escape? People label it as being, either acting, singing, dancing quite often. And actually there's so much that people do in everyday life that is creative, cooking, sewing, ironwork, metalwork, woodwork, DIY, decorating. It's not being afraid to fail and just getting stuck in, having a go at it.
Even being invited to speak at the launch of the Aging Well Festival, somebody's thought, actually I can talk about creativity. And I was thinking when I was first asked, I'm not a creative myself. But after thinking about it and talking to the festival organisers, I thought actually there is a lot we can say about how we all contribute to our creative city, whether it's as an audience member participating, whether it's being the creative ourselves. And obviously I want to give a plug to the Royal Pavilion and museums, to come and see the fantastic artwork here and the wonderful exhibitions around archaeology. David Bowie one I know everybody loved, but we have sort of long-standing exhibitions that a lot of people haven't seen. And, come and visit.
I did art GCSE and, I've never gone back to that. And I think that's the same for a lot of people, to allow yourself to actually go and revisit perhaps what you've always been interested in. But I think creativity is just so important for the soul and so important for us to experience a different kind of relationship with the world.
And what would you say to someone who thinks they lack creative talent or they're cautious about getting involved in arts and culture?
It really upsets me when people say they're not creative. My mum has always wanted to draw and has always said, I can't draw, I'm not drawing. And it's like, of course you can draw. She's now joined an art class and is loving it and is producing some incredible pieces of work. It was Picasso that said about every child's an artist. It's just remembering that as an adult.
My answer is very well known. Everyone is an artist. Joseph Beuys was right. Just give it a try.
We always get people who are a little bit unsure. And we always say, just come in with an open mind, give it a go, roll your sleeves up. No one's going to be judgmental. It's just about experiencing something different.
Some of the most extraordinary creative art that I've ever had the privilege to see is from young, disadvantaged kids from around the world, working with a charity that we run, taking photographs of their local communities. And it's something that they're not really sure they're capable of, but by the end of 2 or 3 weeks of working with them, they're putting stuff on the walls of exhibitions, and seeing the boost that gives them, and the way their self-esteem jumps through the roof, and the way they all work together and collaborate. We're talking about young people who've also got mental health issues. I just get the idea of somebody doing something really simple, showing it to somebody else, and that somebody else going, oh yeah, I know what that means. I can relate to that.
Thank you to those people for sharing those insights. As always, it's so interesting to get different people's views. We've got over 100 events in the festival covering all the different aspects of creativity. We've got dance and theatrical events, art classes, walks with an artist, a visit to one of the city's key parks to learn about managing the trees. And there's also a sewing workshop at the Met and a chance to visit their creative catering students. We can also learn about how we can be creative in hearing better and in our employment as we get older. So some of the event organisers are now going to tell us a little bit more about what they'll be doing.
Welcome to Under the Stage at the Theatre Royal Brighton. We're doing a backstage tour as part of the Ageing Well Festival, which is always very exciting because you get to see all the bits that you never knew existed when you're sitting watching a show. You'll get to come under the stage and over the stage and in the orchestra pit and just have a good old peek around. Our troupe of older performers, the Age of the Stage, are creating a special piece for the festival called Joy, which will take place outside the building, outside our beautiful building, underneath the colonnade and around our pillars, and it will be free to anybody who's walking along New Road and wants to have a look and see.
The first week of the festival on the 21st, and it's called Creativity and Wellbeing. We're going to be looking at creative tools that people might have used during lockdown to help them with isolation, with their emotional well-being. And we're going to have an artist, a poet, somebody who's journaled and used creative writing, somebody who's used music, just to help them. And they're going to talk and present to the group. We've got something called Creative Movement. And we'll be running a silent disco. We'll be having a Bollywood session, a ballet-style exercise class. The most famous event that we run every year is the infamous cabaret at the Hop, and that will be on the last Saturday of the festival.
On the 1st of October, I will attend the audio dance event, which will be performed in Munich and Brighton and Hove simultaneously. This is an exciting experiment for us. Please keep your fingers crossed.
We have 2 events in the programme, a Meet and Make Studio Artist Tour at Phoenix, where you'll get a chance to have a behind-the-scenes glimpse at an artist at work. You'll meet the Phoenix artists in their studios and explore their practice whilst getting a chance to create a small artwork inspired by the artist. And we have a walk on the South Downs with Phoenix artist Jenny Staff. You'll go on a journey through Jenny's artistic practice, which explores the role of nature, walking and creating as a reflective practice to discover the internal and external worlds that we inhabit.
The BMECP 50 Plus group will be holding an Open Day celebration event on Friday the 1st of October from 12 to 3 p.m. at the BMECP Centre in Fleet Street, Brighton. The group want to give people the opportunity to reconnect. There will be a warm welcome and some lovely refreshments.
Thank you to those people and to everybody who's been involved in organising the events. There's also a lot of people to thank who have worked so hard behind the scenes. These people have been doing website updates, checking the information that's going into the programme, and also setting up a booking system and delivering the programmes. These programmes are now available across the city, or if you'd like us to post one to you, then do just give us a call. All the information will be at the end of this film. So now it's over to you. Have a look at the programme, get booking your events, But do remember that we've got a year-round programme of ageing well activities, services and support. So I'm going to leave you with words from writer and broadcaster Simon Fanshawe. He advises, use the festival to take the opportunity to take a crash course in dancing, laughing, screaming and watching your way to the energy of being alive in Brighton and Hove. Have a great time, do follow us on social media if you can and let us know what you've enjoyed.